Hey, it's Darren, and this is Daniel, and it's time for Deep Dive with said Daniel. Hey, he is
We're
still off in a
back.
he's in a far, far away land, but he's decided to join us this week for Deep Dive because we missed you, Daniel. We missed the Deep Dive. Even if you do once again bring your long titles, which this one is Understanding the Big Mac Index, a juicy insight into global economics. That's kind of sexy there, Ed, the juicy insight. Yay. Big Mac. We're talking about Mark McGuire, right? Of St. Louis Cardinals. Is that what we're
No,
talking about?
McDonald's.
Oh, it's a food thing. So it's kind of like the lipstick thing we had not too long ago that we talked about, but this is more my style, which is the Big Mac. Um, so
Yeah,
kind of give
it's a
us
little
a
closer to home for me, being from the Midwest. A lot of McDonald's growing up.
yeah, is there McDonald's there where you are? I'm sure they are.
Here, there's McDonald's everywhere. Every
They
country I've
serve
been to,
different
I've seen
food, right?
McDonald's. They
They
do,
serve
yeah,
different.
and it's
Okay.
better.
It's better for you.
Well, I don't know
Not
if
as
it's better for you, but it tastes better.
It tastes better. Okay, I just knew there's like in every country they have different things that they offer. Um, is the Big Mac there? Do you know yet?
Is it in Singapore?
Do they offer the Big Mac there, or is it
I
something
think
else?
that's a international thing. I
Okay,
think it just
all right,
varies per country.
all right. So as a precursor to the rest of this, there was this battle here between Burger King and Big Mac, which just happened. And Burger King or Big Mac or McDonald's was the first one to offer the $5 meal, I guess, again for a Big Mac.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
And then Burger King rushed in, which was on one of my broadcasts over the weekend. I talked about how Burger King said, "Hey, here, hold my hamburger. I'm going to do this," and so they're going to offer a $5 meal, but they're going to do it earlier and they're going to do it longer than Big Mac. So, I mean, the fight's on. So, I mean, we win. The consumer wins, right? And I may be jumping into further in, but once these guys start competing with each other, then us, the consumer, wins, and that's what we've been waiting on, especially with all this inflation going on. We're talking about $20 meals at McDonald's of all places.
I wonder if Bill Ackman had anything to do with the Burger King one because they're a large shareholder in Burger King.
Oh, well, it's always connected. It's always pulls back to money, and you know how much I love Bill Ackman too. I have a picture of him at home. Not, not all
Over your
right.
nightstand.
So let's talk about the Big Mac Index, and it's kind of a like you said, a lighthearted way of describing the condition of inflation, I guess, which you compared to the CPI or the Consumer Price
Mhm.
Index. So it's a specific, just like the lipstick, it's a certain part of that Consumer Price Index. Talk a little bit more about that. I've done too
Yeah,
much talking. Your
so
turn.
so originally the Big Mac Index was developed by The Economist, which is an economic magazine back in the 80s, and it was originally developed to show the purchasing power parity between different currencies, right? So you could see like what the price of a Big Mac is here versus China, Colombia, somewhere like that. So you could kind of see like $5 here, how does that actually translate to the 15 yuan it means in China, for example, right?
Hmm.
So you can actually get an idea of just based on a Big Mac what the price of one thing is one place versus another.
Right.
But recently, the Big Mac index has been compared to the consumer price index. So it shows the increase in prices that consumers pay for goods over time. And this has been an interesting development because it is now starting to outpace the CPI. And CPI is already running hot, as we know.
Yes, yes, it is. That's interesting. So it kind of went more of a foreign exchange thing to now just a
Mhm.
U.S. what we're dealing with here thing, and so that probably tells you just how much of a situation we're in right now. And then you could always, I guess, compare instead of the wealth gap, you can do the lipstick uh, index versus the Big Macs
Yep.
index. I don't know.
Well, and you can think of those two indexes as like a need versus a want, right? Like,
True.
sure. lipstick maybe for women is more of a need, but like at the end of the day, it's kind of a want, right? Where like a food is a need, right? You can't live without food. And I forget what the exact statistics were, but it
True.
was like in a given week, like 20% of Americans have like more than one like fast food meal or something. So like that's like a lot of people that on a daily basis are consuming fast food. And I know with my recent
Right.
experience, I only eat fast food maybe a few times a year. It's always when I'm on like a road trip to go snowboarding or
Right.
something.
Right.
I bought a meal at Wendy's and it was $15. And like it felt like yesterday that Wendy's had the 4 for 4.
Exactly.
And
Those
now
those
it's
days are gone.
nowhere to be found, right? And like, you know, I'm not like I'm not bawling as a consumer, but I'm not like oh so price conscious that I rely on a 4 for 4. But I was like, $15 for fast food is ridiculous.
I mean, you do 20 bucks for lunch all in and then do 40 bucks, double that, 40 bucks per person, by the way, here for dinner. And my goodness. And your salary has not gone up the 20 to 30% that's necessary to keep doing that. And you have to do some life changes, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big things that this index showed too, right? Especially I'll say in the like kind of finance world, if you will, because like those people kind of aren't really going to McDonald's a lot, right? That people were utterly shocked that, a Big Mac went from like 2 to like it was like $6 or $7 over the course of like only a few years, which like is absolutely insane. We hear about like milk increasing by 30%, eggs by 50% or whatever. But then you see, something like this even before like pre-COVID kind of things multiplying fivefold. It's like pretty concerning about like what is going on. Now, given a lot of this has to do with, wage increases, inflation in food, things like that.
Yes, I was going there.
Um, yeah,
I mean, you keep raising this, you're gonna have to raise this, and it's just gonna throughout the years, it's just
exactly.
gonna keep doing that, and
And
there
and
has to
and
be a
this is
breaking
one of
point.
those arguments that come in for AI, right? Like, it's let's be honest, like, it's jobs that many people don't want, right? Is there gonna be somebody there? Yes, but, like, I drove across the country recently. There's a lot more ordering kiosks in restaurants than there used to be.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
I'll say fast food specifically, right? So,
Yeah.
but the question is, does that trickle down to the consumer or the, corporation's bottom line, right?
Yeah, that's
Because
what
rarely,
everybody's yelling about.
unless
Yeah.
we go in an extremely deflationary environment, companies don't lower prices, right?
No, no, they increase bonuses for themselves. And again, wealth gap, boop. So it's
Yep.
a big thing that we're gonna battle here over the next couple of years and, well, next 10 years, and I believe that's, all this AI is going to trigger the middle class is gonna get wiped out, the lower class is gonna get wiped out, and we're gonna have a robotic class, I don't know, and we'll we'll work for robots eventually, who knows?
Yep.
There's probably a good science sci-fi movie out there somewhere. Yeah, so if you just want to wrap it up, I mean, where are we going? What's the next step here? Are prices going to come back down again? Are we hinting towards that? Do we see? I mean, once you give somebody something, you can't take it away, and that's what these wages. I mean, I just don't see it. You'll just have less of people working, right? And you'll replace them with machines. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that. I don't think prices come down anytime soon. I mean, we've seen inflation start to slowly tick back up, and the Fed says, originally people were expecting a rate cut, honestly, by now or summer, and now people are projecting it out until September, maybe. So,
I think if
um,
they're being honest, the reason they're saying that the rate cut, they keep delaying when something's going to break, and so that's what they're doing. They're saying, okay, it's not going to break now till September, which would make sense because that's right before the election, and they're going to wait until then to actually go, okay, this wasn't great policies.
typically, actually, it's like once they cut rates, the recession starts 3 to 6 months after that first rate cut.
I
right?
know. See. There's so many typically things that have not happened though this cycle, because they've been talking about this for 2 years, 3 years now. About well, whenever we hit this, whenever this inversion happens, it's going to happen in this amount of time. But
Well, to
then
be
the
fair,
infusion.
we haven't reverted yet, though. It's the yield curve is still inverted.
Well, I know, and well, all I can say is what from June on, we should have some really good deep dives with Daniel on reactions of probably what's going to start happening in the summer, which is when they love to pull the punches. I remember June,
What are you talking about?
June,
We're so calm.
June and October. You were calm and resilient. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry. Let me get back in my box.
That being said, it being an election year, I think it might be a different summer.
Man, there's so much different about everything. I mean, the COVID thing
Hey,
by
history
itself was
doesn't
different.
repeat itself, but it often rhymes.
There might be some rhyming lines, but then it also may be some things that don't rhyme. That'd be a
All
bad
right.
rapper.
Well, you know what? We'll every other deep dive. Well, I think we just got to let you tinfoil.
I have a hat on the way. I don't know if you know this or not, but I do. I do have a hat which I'll be wearing. It's a trucker hat though. It's not like a, but it says something about a tinfoil. So I'll be in.
Okay. I'll
Just wait.
I'll wear my sauna hat and you wear that hat.
You can wear your Italian suit while I do
My Italian. I left that in the States. It's also from Thailand, but
All right, it's made there. Maybe you can pick some up while you're there and bring them home. All right, Dave, I appreciate you coming by. Finally, we get to see you again, and hope again to see you. Hopefully, get to see you tomorrow for Wednesday after the bell, and then again next week too. So,
yeah, I hope it
thanks.
works. We'll see.
I do too. Let's go, Asia. Make it work. I'll see you later, Daniel.
See ya. Bye.
All right, bye.